Okay, what's up, YouTube? So, this is going to be an introduction into the Aces EFI tuning software. What do they call it? The advanced tuning software that they have on their website. You can download. So when you open up, you'll see you'll see a little icon, your Aces icon, and you want to go to System Select, and this will let you pick which type of ECU you have. For some reason, you have to do this every time. I'm not sure why you can't just like select like this is always it and then have it select that. But mine is the kill shot, so we're going to pick or select kill shot, and this will bring you into your sensors, your idle, and your sensor errors. So this will show you your mat pressure, your manifold absolute pressure. This is your mat, which is your manifold absolute temperature. This is your engine coolant temperature. You got your. This is. I'm not sure what BAP is actually. Some sort of pressure, maybe barometric. I'm not sure, but TPS is your throttle position sensor. You got oil pressure. You got your wideband one. If you're on other systems, you'll have multiple widebands, one for each bank. This is your idle target speed. This is your IAC position. So this is like your idle air control position, what position the little motor is in for letting like your idle air. This is your loop, which is like the loop learning percentage of what it's doing. This is your target AFR, so this is what you're targeting. This is your actual. This is what the O2 sensor is reading. This is your injector pulse width, which is how long the injection or the injector is on. This is your injector loop percent, so this is how much of like how the percentage of your injector is on for. Your fuel learn, so this is your learning. This is your ignition advance. If you are controlling timing with your vehicle, this is your ignition dwell, engine stop time. You can kind of go through all of these things. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you how I set up my engine. So we'll go right here to system settings, and you have your number of injectors, which is 4. The engine displacement. So for my engine, because rotaries are weird, they don't. There's a bunch of different rules of thumb. Some people say to enter the exact cubic inch displacement of the engine. Some say to double it. Some say to kind of meet in the middle. What I'm going to do and what's started my engine up is to meet in the middle. So I'm going to go 120, or I'm sorry, this is in cc's. This will be, let me do some math quick, because the 12A is 1146 cc. So we'll go times 1.5. So that'll be 1719. Or I'm sorry, 1146 cc's. So that'll be, yes, okay. So this will be 1719 cc's. Your injector flow rate is set from the Aces, so this should be correct. My hot idle speed. Now I have a Bridgeport, so I'm going to set my idle speed for 1250 because it just does not really like to idle lower. I think, get it there if I learn how to tune even like more like precisely with like startup enrichments and all this stuff. I'm still new to all of this, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. I'm just kind of showing my process of how I'm doing this. Fan 1 on, so you can control. So there are 2 ground triggers for your fan relays through the system that's controlled with your engine coolant temperature sensor. It doesn't really matter for right now because I'm going to go through and set up all this later. But we'll say I want what do we want? We'll say I want 85C for fan 1 on, and we'll say we want 90C for fan 2. That's like probably pretty close to like 170 and 190 Fahrenheit ish. And then what you want is to turn it off at like 82, and we'll do 88. Keep it kind of similar. So it's kind of like you're putting in your own hysteresis. Delay times, I don't really care about any of this stuff. So that is good for my engine setup for my 12A. So now we'll go to our idle. And let's see, where is my, there should be, because I'm leaving all of this set for now. I'm just seeing if they have I think my title. Okay, so these are all actually set for now. So now, since I'm not controlling spark, I'm going to go to fueling. So this is kind of like where I think most people will be in as far as tuning goes. So what I'm going to do is my fuel prime percent. This is like when you turn the key on, it will like, it's like giving you like a shot of fuel, kind of like on a carburetor, sort of like the what do we, or kind of like the, what are they called, the, can't remember the name of it anymore, accelerator pump on a carburetor. So like the fuel prime percent is like the accelerator pump, so it's like it gives you like an extra little hit of fuel to kind of start it. So I put this at like I think it was 200 is what I was doing. And fuel on percent, this is like when you turn the key to on, it gets like it primes the bowl with some fuel. This, I think I had set at 95%, I believe, or it was 110, but somewhere around there, just a little extra, just to kind of help bump it. If this is too much and it floods your engine out, just back it off a bit. But now I'm gonna leave all of this the same for now, and then we will go. So if you go into X point, so this took me a little while to actually figure out. This is how you adjust the scaling of your map. So this is your manifold absolute pressure X point. And this kind of is confusing too, because the handheld, when it's at atmospheric, it's reading 102 kPa or somewhere around there. And then when you're like idling, it's reading at like 80 kPa. It should say negative, but it doesn't. It's just kind of weird, unless you go with the PSI, and then it'll read like a positive PSI, even though if it's in vacuum. I think they need to update that. I'm not quite sure why it reads that way, but in the tuning software, 0 is basically negative. It's not exactly, but it's like negative 14.5, negative 14.7 psi. This is your absolute pressure. Like this is like what we experience outside. And then if you go up to 100, that is at this is at like absolute vacuum. So this is at like negative 14.7, negative 14.5. This is kind of like perfect idling vacuum of your engine. And then if you go up to 100 kPa, this is atmospheric. This is like positive 14.5, 14.7 psi. So for me, I'm not tuning. All of the rest of this is boost. So they have a 3-bar T-map sensor, and so 3 bar is like somewhere over here. It's not exactly 500. It's like, I don't remember exact kPa for 3-bar, but it's somewhere like up here. It's like, I think it's actually like 320 or something. I don't remember. But so I'm only going to be tuning in the 0 to 105. Now I do 105 because your pressure can vary a little bit, and you don't want to like go over the top and then it not have anything there, especially if you have like a very high efficiency engine. You can actually get above 100 kPa for like tuning purposes, for like your VE tables and stuff. So I tune it up to 105. You'll see that kind of on some other maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load in my actual tune that I have built, so I don't have to go through and type all of this. But actually, we'll go over that. So when you want to load your own things, right? So you have open calibration, save. This is a map calculate. You have download, calibration, and upload. So this is like the download and upload are when you're connected to the ECU. When you have something you want to put on the ECU, you press upload. And when you want to pull the tune off of your ECU to see what it's doing, you press download. So what we're going to do is open calibration data. I have everything saved on a USB drive, kill shot, and I label everything by date. So I can go back and look at revisions and different attempts and things. So we'll load 412. And you can see right here how my map X point is 0, 10, 25, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and 105 kPa. So that is the resolution of my map on my fuel table. Now we will go to the RPM Y point, and this is what your system will read for the RPM limits. And because my engine's never really going to go below 500 RPM, I took 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. And I kept it kind of higher resolution in this area because this is where a lot of the cruising, idling, kind of like more important areas are to fine tune. Like your idle can be greatly affected by your AFRs and your VE tables a lot more than like wide open throttle, where really I'm going to be tuning for safety, not for chasing perfect numbers. But I want my idle to be stable, so hopefully that makes sense. But this is my RPM range for my engine. I don't want to really get above 8,500, but it's nice that I have that kind of section there. Hopefully I'll be able to set up a fuel cut or ignition cut if it gets anywhere near there. But so what we can do now, so you have your configuration, you have your X point, and then you have your 1D tables, which I have not touched these yet. I'm just leaving these how these are set from Aces. I might come in here and do my fuel enrichment percentages and my TPS acceleration enrichment, and like just kind of mess with these stuff at some point, but not yet. I want to see how the car runs and gets into the loop learning when it's warmed up. So basically I'm just doing a base map to get it to run safely where I can start learning how to tune. So now the big part is your 2D tables. So what I have set up is my street strip, or was it stock mild? So my stock mild VE table right here. So your VE table is your volumetric efficiency. Basically, this is, how do I want to word this? This is basically a table that is trying to calculate the density of oxygen molecules at any given pressure and RPM section of your map. So like this isn't like an actual volumetric efficiency table of your engine. This is the best guess that you can get to based on what AFR numbers you want and how the engine's reacting. So it's like it's pretty accurate, but like I don't think these are the actual volumetric efficiency tables. Like the actual factory has those for engines, and I don't think we're allowed. Like I don't think you can really get your hand on them. But so with a lower number, as far as I understand it, and I'm still learning, but as far as I understand it, the lower the number is, the less efficient your engine has filled with basically oxygen dense air. So you need less fuel so you can burn at, we're not going to be burning at exactly stoichiometric, but for the purpose of this, say you wanted every cell to always be burning at stoichiometric, the quote unquote perfect complete burn of fuel for your engine, right? So this will dictate what your injectors are doing based on excuse me. So this will basically your ECU will pull your fueling from here. So like your AFR, like, so say that at 25 kPa pressure at 2,000 is 27. So like we'll go to my target fuel at 2,000 at 25. We should be getting a 13.8 AFR reading on our, this is the commanded AFR. This is what we want. We want 13.8 at 25 kPa at 2,000 RPM. And so while your system's running, you'll be running, and you'll go to, we'll go on here while it's running and say at this area, it's reading like, I don't know, we'll say it's reading like a 13.9. So it's actually slightly leaner than what this number is. So what we'll do is you'll just go in here and you'll increase your number. Say I went up 1, or you can do this and you can offset selected, and you can do plus 10 or minus 10, or you can do percentages. So we'll say like I'll go up 5%, and that'll put it at 29.4, and then you'll keep running your engine, and you'll basically track with this, and that'll show you where the engine is. So you can connect this to your ECU on the laptop, and you can actually monitor live while you're doing this. And you'll see how the engine reacts. You'll see how your actual AFR on your monitor, and your if it goes up or down, and you can see that. So if we go, where is it? I want to. There should be a way to get a window. I forget how. Or we can go here. And oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so we'll say like we're monitoring all of these things. So you got TPS. I think we can add in your wideband, or maybe that's in here. Measure wideband. Okay, so I'll do like a floating window, right? So put that there. Go back to our fuel map. Go to our VE table. Oops. Go to stock mild. I'll go back here, and then we'll have our wherever my little window went. Here we go. So you can monitor your wideband, what it's reading, and if it goes to your desired, so say this is reading 13.8 now. Now you can save this and upload your data to the car, and that'll be your new volumetric efficiency for this zone based on the AFR that you want. So this isn't like, so you're basically you're deciding, or someone, your tuner, whoever is deciding what they want to run for an AFR, so your air fuel ratio at these numbers. So like you want like a 10.5 at wide open throttle, right? So this is 105 kPa, which is basically atmospheric as far as the scaling goes. So this is at atmosphere. Your throttle blades are completely open, 100% open. You're getting full atmospheric pressure into your engine, and you want to run on the rich side so that you don't detonate and cause issues with your engine. Now this is extremely important when it comes to rotaries, because especially for most people that delete their oil metering pumps, without the oil metering pump, you're premixing oil into your gas to cool and lubricate. So to cool your apex seals and lubricate your housings. So you need to run even richer, because the fuel is also your lubricant. It's not just for power, it's to keep your engine healthy. So you're cooling the engine down while also producing power and lubricating it. So you have to be even more rich than like a typical piston engine. So like this might be extremely rich on like a normal piston engine, but like for a rotary, this is a pretty safe number as far as everything that I have read and watched for tuning rotaries. And yeah, so this is kind of how I've gone through and tuned the AFRs that I want. So it'll basically lean up a little bit right in this area, which is kind of your cruising highway RPM ranges right here. So like 1500 to 2000. I might change this because I'm going to try and idle around 1250. So maybe this will be a little bit richer, like maybe like a 13.5 for these, actually we'll just do that now. Fill selected value. So you can actually fill all of these at once too. So you can do fill same values, and then we'll just type in 13.5. Boop. And then now there's 13.5. So now this is slightly richer because this is kind of towards my idle area. And this is a little bit leaner because this is where you're cruising. So you don't have a whole lot of load on the engine. It's not like you can, but this is less likely to cause engine damage in this area because you just don't have a lot of load on the engine. And we're running a 13.8. Like most cars would run like 15.7, 16.1 from all of the dyno videos and like tuning sessions that I've watched. It seems like cruising area for most piston cars is like pretty lean. So like I'm playing it safe and I'm keeping it below stoic and giving it a little extra. You could probably run it like a 14.2 or a 14, but like I'm running it at a 13.8 just to keep just to be on the safe side and to lubricate the engine and keep the exhaust gas temperatures down. Because that's another thing that I can't monitor because I don't have an exhaust exhaust temperature gauge yet. But that's one thing you do have to keep in mind for rotaries, because they run significantly hotter than normal piston engines. Just even at idle, you'll be running at like 600 or 700 degrees Celsius for your exhaust gases, which is pretty high. I mean, like once you get really pushing into it, and if you're trying to lean it out, like you can damage turbo housings. You can you'll be sitting idling, and your headers will be glowing red just sitting there. So a lot of that plays into also your timing. You definitely want to have it not so much retarded timing in the low idle areas, because that heats your engine up a lot. You kind of have to figure out where the safe timing advance is for your engines. From what I can tell, for a Bridgeport engine, you don't want any more than 25 degrees of total advance. For normal stock ported ones I've seen, like on Racing Beat and stuff, they suggest like 8 degrees to 10 degrees before top dead center setting for your base timing, and then with all of your mechanical advances and your vacuum advances, that'll sit you at like probably 40 degrees of advance in this cruising area, which is pretty fine. But yeah, so that is just kind of a brief overview of what I'm going to be doing for tuning my rotary engine with Aces system. Maybe, let's see, I guess I can show you, like you can see if you do 3D charts, so you can see your maps in 3D, kind of see if you have any jagged edges or maybe like peaks and valleys. Gives you a good visual representation of like what's going on. If we go to what do we got? We got fuel pumps. So this will kind of show you like your turn off RPM. So like at this RPM, fuel pumps turn off. Then you have your IOs, which is like your different like sensors and things that are on the harness that you can add. What I'm going to show you guys now is how to set up your own pressure sensors. So I bought Low Dollar Motorsport 0 to 100 psi pressure sensors, or transducers, I believe. They're the 5 volt sensors, and you can set them up to basically measure all sorts of different psis. So in the software, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go down to fuel, and you're going to go to configuration, yeah, and you're going to want to change this to, I believe, is it 1D table? Yes. And then we go to X point, and you're going to go down to, scroll down a little bit, you're going to go to your FPS X point, which is your, technically it's fuel pressure sensor, but the way Aces, like the software reads, you could change it basically to be anything. So this is your oil pressure sensor. You get one 5 volt sensor with their kit. So this can read any sort of pressure you put in, boost pressure, fuel pressure, oil pressure, coolant pressure, any of that stuff. So now I'm going to go online, and I'm going to find the calibration data, which I have right here. So you go on their website, you find the calibration data for their sensors, and I find mine, what are the one that I want specifically. And it's this guy right here. So I took a screen grab of that, and we go back into here. And what we do is you enter the x-axis, your voltage. So your x-axis is your voltage. So you have your 0.5, 0.77, and you go right down the list. All fits perfectly. And that gives you your voltage points for your sensor. And then after you enter that in, you go to your 1D table, you go down, and you go to FPS, and then you enter the PSI, what they give you for their calibration of voltages. You enter that in, and this will give you a calibrated pressure sensor. And this is really handy for whatever you want to enter your own, especially if they don't come, if it doesn't come with a kit and you want to add one. You can basically use any sensor that has the calibration data available to you, and you can change it and do all sorts of stuff with it. I figured that was like an important piece of information. So, all right, another thing that I would like to show you guys is how to turn your map on, so you can actually tune your you can actually like tune your engine without the simple AFR, so it's not just reading your idle, cruise, and watt and like calibrating your table to that. This is if you want full control of your entire map. So you go to fuel, you go to configuration, you go to target AFR type, as you see in here, and you put in 2D table. And now when you go down to fuel, you're in your fuel tab, and you go down to your 2D table, it'll show you your target air fuel ratio. And now you have everything set up so the system will read this. You can see here's my fuel map. This is extremely rich, extremely safe for what I'm doing. And what this will do, kind of like I've already showed you, is pull from your whatever cam profile you picked. Your cam profile basically dictates your VE tables, so you'll have whatever one you select in your startup wizard or whatever. It'll pull that VE data, and then you can run it like that, and then you can see the graph here. But yeah, I think that's pretty good for right now. You got your strip chart, went over this stuff. Yeah, cool. I think that's pretty good. So, let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'll try and answer everything that the best that I can. If you got any suggestions for videos, not for videos, like suggestions for tuning for these things, like absolutely drop in the comments. I'm always learning from as many areas as I can. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.